and we're just going to celebrate her life. We're going to celebrate her life. I know many of us were taken aback when we heard this news. It actually took me several days to figure out the words, what I was going to say to put in a post.
A teenage girl shot and killed in New Jersey. Her family and friends gathering to remember her. Her father and stepmother, who was also shot in the attack, speaking tonight exclusively.
Tiana Lee was a bright, ambitious, and deeply loving 15-year-old who had a presence that could light up any room. Her spirit was contagious. If there was ever a moment of darkness, Tiana was the one who would fill it with warmth and energy. Born in Jamaica, Tiana moved to the United States in March 2024 to join her father, seeking better opportunities for herself and a future full of promise. Though she had only been in the country for a short time, she quickly showed how driven she was. Tiana was a young girl full of ideas, many of them spontaneous and quirky, often making those around her laugh. Her sense of humor and her beauty, both inside and out, left a lasting impression on anyone who met her. But beyond her infectious laughter and creative energy, Tiana was a deeply caring and compassionate soul. She would often tell her family, "I see this person on the street. I really want to help them," a reflection of her empathy and kindness. Just beginning to adjust to her new life in Jersey City, Tiana was settling into her role as a student at Lincoln High School. She was eager to learn more about the American way of life, from the school system to everyday experiences. One thing that caught her attention was the vastness of the country, the freedom of space that seemed so different from what she had known back in Jamaica. But it wasn't just the wide open spaces that surprised her, it was the winter. Having never experienced such cold weather, Tiana was taken aback when the temperature started to drop, jokingly stating, "I cannot feel my hands. I cannot feel my face." Despite the initial shock of the cold, she soon found herself falling in love with the winter, her eyes lighting up with excitement as she anticipated her first snow. Tiana was eagerly looking forward to celebrating her 16th birthday in March, filled with plans and dreams for the future. But just as she was beginning to truly embrace her new life, an unimaginable tragedy struck, forever altering the course of her young life. On the evening of January 19th, a woman and a man burst into a local hospital, frantically screaming for help. They urgently informed the staff that their daughter had been shot, sending shockwaves through the hospital. The alarming situation prompted an immediate response from Jersey City police, who quickly arrived at the scene to begin their investigation into the horrifying incident. The victim was identified as 15-year-old Tiana Lee, who was rushed to Jersey City Medical Center, where she was sadly pronounced dead after succumbing to a gunshot wound just a month before her 16th birthday. The area where the shooting took place had cameras, including city-run surveillance. Authorities in the meantime canvassed nearby streets for any clues to help in their investigation. Earlier that evening, Tiana had been enjoying a joyful celebration with her family, marking her grandfather's birthday in a lively gathering filled with love and laughter. But as the night came to a close, she and her stepmother had offered to take her grandfather home. What should have been a simple drive back became the beginning of an unspeakable tragedy. As they turned onto Oak Street, nestled between Martin Luther King Boulevard and Ocean Avenue, their world was turned upside down. In the blink of an eye, the familiar surroundings became the scene of a terrifying ordeal. At first, Kiana's stepmother thought they had accidentally run over something in the road, maybe a bottle or debris, but the realization came swiftly and shockingly when she saw the rear window of the car explode from the impact of gunfire. The peaceful night was violently interrupted by a sudden barrage of gunfire. In the aftermath, Tiana's stepmother instinctively reached for her, only to find her hands soaked in blood. In that moment, the terrifying truth sank in. Tiana had been shot. Desperate to understand what was happening, her stepmother glanced into the rearview mirror, where she saw a young male standing in the street, a gun raised and aimed directly at them. It became clear they were being targeted. In a frantic attempt to save her, Tiana's stepmother sped toward the hospital, but the gunfire had left the car's tires flat. With each passing moment, the urgency mounted, and her stepmother prayed desperately for the strength to make it. But despite their best efforts, the young 15-year-old girl was not able to survive the brutal attack, the doctor delivering the crushing news. Tiana had lost all brain function. She was placed on life support to allow her family the chance to say their final goodbyes, knowing there was nothing else that could be done. It wasn't until they arrived at the hospital that her stepmother realized that she, too, had been wounded, shot in the lower back. Though her injuries were non-life-threatening and treated promptly, the emotional toll of witnessing Tiana's life slip away was far more devastating than any physical pain. The community was filled with a mixture of grief, anger, and confusion. Questions surrounded the motive behind the attack. Had Tiana been specifically targeted, and if so, why? Some speculated that it may have been linked to a personal relationship, possibly involving a young man who had unreciprocated feelings for her. Others wondered if the violence was a case of mistaken identity, but regardless of the reason, the unanswered questions only deepened the pain. The tragic event left everyone grappling for understanding, but all they were left with were more questions on an overwhelming sense of loss. In the wake of Tiana's passing, the school community rallied to support her grieving family. Her classmates, teachers, and friends came together to honor her memory with a memorial at her high school. Balloons were released into the sky, a poignant tribute to a life so full of potential, taken far too soon. Yet, even with the outpouring of love and support, the family's pain could not be eased. The anguish of losing Tiana remained a heavy weight, and the search for answers was far from over. Tiana's tragic death marked the second fatal shooting in Jersey City in 2025. Just weeks earlier, on January 3rd, a 17-year-old boy was arrested in connection with the shooting death of a 20-year-old man. Tiana's death also contributed to the grim statistics of 28 children who have been fatally shot across the United States so far this year, highlighting the ongoing violence that continues to devastate families and communities nationwide. Only days after the tragedy, police announced the arrest of a 16-year-old boy, charging him as a juvenile with first-degree murder and several other serious offenses. While this arrest offered a measure of justice, it did little to bring closure to Tiana's family. Despite the legal developments, they were left with the haunting feeling that something more was missing, something that might bring them true peace and understanding. They continue to seek answers, hoping to find justice for the life taken so violently.
If you take a peek in Tiana Lee's room, you'd see she was a typical 15-year-old. Stuffed animals on her bed, her school outfit laid out, where her father would kiss her goodnight. But the last time he saw her, she was dying in his arms.
I was trying to call her name, Tiana, Tiana, Tiana. No response. And every time I close my eyes at night, only thing I can see her face.
It was a face that beamed with joy, but what unfolded on these Jersey City streets can only be described as a horror. Tiana was in the car with her stepmom, driving home last Saturday night, when gunfire erupted.
I reached out to her and I realized my hands were filled with blood, and that's when I realized that she was shot. And then I look at the mirror, like the rear mirror that you can see from the back, and I saw somebody was standing in the middle of the street and having a gun pointing at our car.
Tiana's stepmom would then realize she was also hit by a bullet in her lower back. She and her husband rushed Tiana straight to the hospital, but the 15-year-old could not be saved.
Tiana was a very loving child, very loving child. If a room is dark, she was the light there.
Tiana had only been in this country since March. Her father moved her here from Jamaica to pursue a better life. She was just getting acclimated to life as a student here at Lincoln High School in Jersey City. And then her young life was taken.
Just wanted to know more about America, the school system here.
The school community has rallied around this family. The suspected shooter, a 16-year-old boy, now charged as a juvenile with first-degree murder. Tiana's parents still need closure.
Do you feel like you were targeted by this person?
I don't see why she would have been the target. I don't see why we are a target.
A celebration of life ceremony for 15-year-old Tiana Lee took place on January 30th in Jersey City, New Jersey. However, she will be laid to rest in her birthplace of Jamaica, where her mother and remaining family and friends are awaiting her. At this time, the motive behind the incident remains unknown, and both law enforcement and loved ones are urging anyone with information to come forward. Rest in peace, Tiana Lee.
I just want to thank the community for for taking to task helping to raise the funds. We are a little short, so if we can get some more people to donate, we need probably about a couple thousand more. As you know, she's a native of Jamaica, so as I understand it, they're looking to do 2 separate services, one here, and then also subsequently she had family over there. So if we can all chip in, again, if everyone do a little, no one have to do a lot. Give what you can give. I'm not asking anyone to give beyond and above their means, but I am asking everyone to give something, If you don't have monetary value to give, share this video, share the flyer of the balloon release, share the flyer or the link with the GoFundMe. And we just have to stand in solidarity as one community strong. Like I said, I am extremely elated at the overwhelming support we have gotten since I put the post out with the link, and I'm just so grateful that we can use this platform to help one another. Again, it's a huge tragedy, man. I've been sitting and thinking, oh my God, man, to listen to that father, man, and it broke me, man. I had the chills sitting in the house. I had goosebumps. I just feel so sorry for the family, man, and it is extremely hard. It is extremely hard to deal with this, man. This stuff is not normal. It's not. Parents are not supposed to bury their kids, man. There's nothing else to say. It's not supposed to transpire like that. So with that being said, again, we are going to honor the life of Tiana Lee. Sienna Lee, tomorrow at Lincoln High School at 2 p.m. If you can come, please come. We'll do a balloon release. We'll light some candles. We're standing in solidarity as one community, and we'll let the family know that we're standing behind them, and we're there to help them get through this trying time of this horrific act of violence, man. So with that being said, I'm not going to be on here much longer, but I did just want to come to the community with those few updates. Again, thank you to everyone who have donated thus far.